Hey, hey, good evening, everybody. Come on in the room tonight. Welcome to each and everybody. Let me see who we got in the room. Do me a quick favor. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you can hear and see me okay. I want to greet everybody that is here. So just give me a quick hello. Give me a hey, how you doing in the comment box. Let me know how your day is so far. How is everything going for you? How is everything going for you? Hopefully, it is going good. Um, I'm going to try to dive right into it here in just a moment because this is a little bit of a different session for tonight. And for those that are joining us, whether you're hopping on the YouTube channel, you're hopping on one of the various social media platforms tonight, we are talking about the 10 steps to implementation. And so, do me a favor for the few that are coming in that I can't see who is all here. Just give me a thumbs up or wave a hello at me. Let me know that you can hear and see me okay. I'm going to do my best to make this as expeditious for everyone as possible. I am currently was in the process of doing this. I had posted, just to let you know if you're catching this, and a lot of people have responded to me based on their schedule and availability. And I'm going to explain as to why we're going on this platform as opposed to the more one-on-one Zoom session. Is because when we were prepping for this, I had posted a post out on Facebook and I had said, hey, we're going to be talking about the 10 steps to proper implementation. If you're interested in creating action behind that, do me a favor, type action in the comment box or something along those lines. And so for the individuals that had responded, I had reached out. I set up a private Zoom link. Of course, the closer that we got to tonight's session, the more I was getting responses of, hey, I had something come up. I'm not going to be available. Can I catch it in a replay? And then I had some requests. I said, hey, I know I didn't necessarily say I wanted to join, but I am interested in joining. Is there still time? And all that fun stuff. And of course, yes, there absolutely is. But because of those two elements, allowing individuals to join who maybe didn't see the original Facebook post and allowing those individuals who are ready for tonight's session but have some scheduling conflicts, this was an easier replay method for them. So I said, scratch the Zoom. We're just going to go live with this tonight and allow everybody that would like to join us to just benefit from this opportunity this evening. So tonight is supposed to be more of a coaching session, more of a group coaching type style, where I'm just going to necessarily run through some things, and I definitely along the way will take questions. I definitely along the way will take any things that may be of a desire for review or any along the way as we just kind of go. So feel free in the comment box to add any questions or put in there your ahas as we go along. Just so we can create some good, decent dialogue behind all of this. Okay, so this is officially your welcome and your hello as we dive into the 10 steps of implementation tonight. And I'm seeing that there's comments, but unfortunately, I'm not seeing comments. So I apologize. I don't know why, but we're going to keep rolling. So I'm going to keep my phone up here just so I can greet everybody. I see my mom is on here. Hey, Mom. Good evening to you. I see Michael is on here. I see Mr. Ross is on here. Good evening to you, sir. I'm going to keep my phone up here in a viewable standpoint so I get a chance to see individuals that are coming in and commenting because it's not showing up on my main screen. So anyways, let's dive into it. So implementation, why are we here tonight? We're here tonight because we are in a season, in a day, in a mode where implementation and action is 100% required. It's required to fulfill day-to-day obligations and duties. It's required to fulfill assignments, mandates, visions, desires, hopes, wishes, all of that. For all of the faith-filled individuals that may be on here tonight, it's even required for our faith. Faith without works is dead. So vision and dreams without action and implementation is also dead. It's nothing. It doesn't come to fruition or to life. And so I want to talk to those people tonight that are looking to kind of infuse, add to their toolbox some things that are going to be available for them to extract at any given time to keep things moving forward. Now, I'm going to lay the foundation for a few moments here, and then I'm going to dive right into it. So, implementing strategies is really dealing with models, is dealing with systems, is dealing with the effectiveness of those models and systems, and requires, of course, careful planning. Okay, careful coordination and attention to detail. So, if you're taking notes tonight, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start there. Implementation is dealing with strategies, models, and systems. Not only dealing with them, but dealing with them in an effective manner where they're effectively working, right? But we have to consider carefully because it requires planning. Implementation requires planning, requires coordination, and attention to detail. Okay, so first and foremost, we have to know tonight, again, if you're taking notes, implementation is needed. Okay. Implementation is also connected to strategies, models, and systems, and it requires careful planning, coordination, and attention to detail. Okay. Now, let me backtrack that for just a moment here and say this. If you are doing anything more than once, it requires a system. Okay. On your job, in your business, it requires a system. Anything that you are doing on a repetitive nature more than once requires a system. A system requires implementation and therefore has to take in consideration careful planning, coordination, and attention to detail. Okay, so I want to kind of walk through a 10 step-by-step process to ensure successful implementation tonight. Okay, if you're ready for it, whether you're watching live and replay, put a thumbs up in the comment box because we're going to dive into it right now. Okay. I'm not going to move forward until I see at least one thumbs up in the comment box to let me know that you're with me and you're ready to learn how to implement. I see likes coming up. Awesome. Okay, let's keep it rolling. The first thing that you have to do, the one of 10 steps to proper implementation, first and foremost, is you have to clearly define objectives. Okay, I have to clearly define objectives. Okay, that is your number one. Clearly define objectives. Okay, now objectives, by definition, is a component of some things, right? Objectives can be connected and influenced by feelings, emotions, opinions, considerations, representations of facts, those type of things, right? And so they are required essentially because you don't know really where you're going to go until you have at least a general direction. Now, proper implementation doesn't require the fact that you have to know everything. Okay. Some of us don't know the end result when we're accomplishing and striving for our goals or trying to fulfill a vision. We don't know how that's going to look all the way. We just know the general direction. Sometimes we just know the general direction to which we have to continue to walk in or start walking in. So in order to really kind of set ourselves up for effective implementation, is we have to clearly define our objectives. We have to begin by clearly defining those objectives, the goals that we want to achieve, keeping in mind that those goals are going to be achieved through implementation of our chosen strategies, models, and systems. Okay. So we're going to define goals. We're going to eventually assign those goals to strategies, models, or systems to ensure that those goals are hit. Now, this clarity provides a solid foundation for the entire implementation process. So the first thing you're going to do is clearly define objectives. So I'm going to challenge you to consider in your mental space tonight. I'm going to challenge you to consider this. Number one, what are you trying to get done? What is the most pressing thing that you're trying to get done? And what is in the time frame that you're going to get it done in? If you don't have a specific idea, I would encourage you to look through the rest of 2023. What is it specifically that you have to get done before this year runs out? Okay. And we're going to clearly define those objectives, clearly defining those objectives and goals, or clearly defining those goals. What is it that we want to achieve through implementation of the chosen strategies, models, and systems? Okay. Now we don't know what those strategies, models, and systems may be just yet, and that's 100% fine. Okay. We just got to bullet point What are we trying to accomplish, and when are we trying to accomplish it by? Okay. Now, this clarity, like I said, is the clarity that's going to provide a foundation for the entire implementation process. So we have to start here. This is grassroots element number one. Clearly define your objectives. Okay. Number two, I originally scheduled this webinar for 45-ish minutes. I'm going to try to get it done sooner than that. So let's keep rolling. Again, any questions, ahas that you want to add to the chat box or whatever, please feel free to do that along the way. Okay. Do me a favor for those that are on here as well. Go ahead and share this video. If you know anybody else tonight that's looking for some just added value for implementation, or some tools maybe to get unstuck, et cetera, go ahead, tag them in this video, send this video to someone, but make sure that you get a chance to share this video as well. Okay. All right. So we have number one, clearly define objectives. Number two is conduct a comprehensive assessment. Okay. Now, the clearly defined objectives put into view, it puts into vision. Okay. What it is specifically that we actually are trying to accomplish. To conduct a comprehensive assessment means that we are now taking those objectives and starting to put some momentum or some meat to those bones. So perform a thorough assessment of your current, couple things, ready? Write this down. Organizational structure, your current resources, and your current capabilities. Okay. Once you have clearly defined your objectives, then I want you to do an assessment. I want you to ask yourself, rate yourself, write down your pros and cons to your current organizational structure. How are you running either your business? How are you running your day-to-day operations? How is your organizational structure of running life? Okay. How is your resources? Do you feel they're lacking? Do you have resources? Do you feel you have resources, but you're not sure if they're the right ones? Okay. Write those pros and cons down. Now, resources, again, so organizational structure is going to be a lot of the management aspect of your goals, right? Are you organized enough to effectively implement the goals, implement the strategies to accomplish the goals? Okay. Do we have the resources that it takes to aid us in the implementation process to accomplish our goals? And what are our capabilities? Am I capable? Am I not capable? Now, I don't believe nobody is not capable, but I do believe that there is levels of capability. I believe anybody can do whatever they want to do if they really set out to do it. But I believe that you have to assess and ask yourself, do I waste time and energy in this capacity, or can I leverage or resource my lack of capability with somebody who is much stronger in that area than me? Right? We teach in our businesses that you have to hire slow and fire fast. And when you do that, you're looking for the person that is the strongest in the thing that you're the weakest in. Okay. And so it's about capabilities. Do I have to leverage, adjust, or redefine my capabilities based on the level of that capability? Okay. Now, when we're doing this, we're identifying any gaps or challenges that are going to hinder the implementation process. Okay. And if we do have, now this one's a little robust. Okay. If we do have gaps, then we have to work on developing strategies to address them proactively. Okay. Now keep in mind, again, if you're watching this live or on replay, feel free to put any questions in the comment box. If you have any questions that you feel need to be asked, I'm more of a one-on-one, please feel free to reach out to me, direct message me what the questions are, because we don't have a ton of time. Hey, I see my sister on here tonight. Thank you so much for joining. We don't have a whole lot of time to dive into the types of strategies to develop, and everybody's going to be a little bit different. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about that tonight, okay? So number two, conduct a comprehensive assessment. We're performing a thorough assessment of our current organizational structure, our current resources, and our capabilities. We're identifying the gaps, and if there are any gaps, that could present as challenges that would hinder our implementation process, then we're developing strategies to address them properly and proactively. Okay, so assessment, we identify gaps and challenges. How are we going to fix those? Okay, now for an example, if for some reason, like, we coach a lot and talk a lot about in the real estate space. Okay. So if somebody is doing a comprehensive assessment and they realize, okay, there's a breakdown in the organizational structure, maybe they're not so good with administrative capabilities, right? Maybe their resources are not as robust as they would like, to hire somebody that is a little bit stronger in the capabilities that would be able to suffice for their organizational structure, right? If they're in those type of situations, then we've identified a gap of a challenge. Well, here's the challenge. A challenge is I need an admin to work on this organizational structure because according to my capability level, that is not my strongest suit. And I do have challenges with that. That challenge is a hindrance to the implementation process to achieve my goals. Therefore, I now have to develop a strategy that will address that issue proactively. What is that strategy? Well, maybe that strategy is looking into some type of transactional based contract to close service. So you have somebody that is dealing in the issue of the organizational structure, but you're not fronting out monetary requirements that you may be not capable of producing at this moment, but yet are based on a transaction base. So in other words, when you get paid, they get paid, right? So it's about developing the strategies to address those challenges proactively. All right. So number one, we have to clearly define objectives. Number two, we have to conduct a comprehensive assessment. That comprehensive assessment is dealing with your organizational structure, your resources, and your capabilities. Okay, ready for number three? Number three is developing an actual plan. This is where we start to look at developing an actual implementation strategy. Okay, now we have to create a detailed implementation plan that outlines, ready for this? Again, if you're taking notes, the implementation plan needs to outline these few things. Number one, specific actions. What actions do I need to take to achieve my clearly defined objective? Okay. Number two, timelines. When do I need to hit that goal to achieve my clearly defined objectives? Remember in the very beginning here, Javidia says, what about doing an internship? 100%. Right there, that is a strategy to address a challenge of implementation proactively. Very good. Doing an internship. Yep. So developing the implementation plan outlines specific actions, timelines. And remember in the very beginning, I asked if, when you're doing your clearly defined objectives, you have to put a due date to them. Okay. Now, if we don't know for sure just yet what that due date is, at least think about what am I needing to knock out before 2023 comes to a conclusion. Okay. So specific actions, timelines, responsibilities. I have to conduct a detailed implementation plan that outlines responsibilities. Who is doing what? Who is responsible for what? Okay. And the resources that are required for successful execution. Okay. So I'm starting to now develop a plan that's centered around my clearly defined objectives. And how I'm developing that is I'm outlining specific actions. In other words, what do I need to do? I'm outlining timelines. When do I need to do them by? I'm outlining responsibilities. What is the specific metrics that are within that? And is there something that goes beyond my responsibility? And then the resources. Do I have what it takes to get this thing done, or what is required to successfully execute the actions that then get done in a timeline that they need to get done based on who needs to do that? Okay. So we break this down. We break down the implementation process into smaller, manageable tasks to ensure that there is a systematic and organized approach. This allows us to do this in bite-sized pieces. Okay. We all like bite-sized pieces. Now, not only is that easier to swallow, right? But that's also easier for execution purposes. So there we go. All right. Number 4. Once we've started to develop this plan, we have to communicate the plan. Okay. Communicate the implementation plan clearly and effectively. Now, who? It depends on who is involved in this. If there are stakeholders involved, if there are team members involved, if there are employees involved, if there are related departments that are involved, if there are relevant individuals that touch the space of whatever it is that you're doing that may be affected by this, right? There are communications that need to take place regarding your implementation plan. Okay. Now, some of you may be asking, well, how do I even do an implementation plan? Well, this is what we're rolling out right now, right? The implementation plan has to get built around the fundamentals and the foundations of the objectives that are predicated upon the timeline, okay? So again, if you have questions, feel free to put in the chat box. If you need just a little bit more guidance on maybe the actual implementation plan strategy of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, you need it to make a little bit more sense to make maybe your granular situation, like this is specifically what I'm dealing with, feel free to reach out to me, okay? Now, here's the thing. What we're going to do as well is those objectives then have to be assigned to a strategy and a timeline. Okay, that's implementation. So for an example, I'm going to use this comment that Javidia had put in the comment box about what about an internship, right? So let's say I need, again, administrative help, okay, in my business. But yet I don't have the resources necessary to hire to the caliber or the degree of the individual that I would need to bring a resolution to that, but I still have to implement a strategy to correct that problem. Okay, so let's say I partner with a local school system, right? Somebody that's looking into business or looking into the real estate industry, right? And they need some extra credits on something or whatnot. We bring them in for an internship, teach them the way, let them work the way while it's benefiting you and benefiting them. It's a win-win situation. And now we have brought together a strategy, right? So maybe my objective, for an example, is to restabilize operations. Okay. So my objective now becomes restabilize operations in the next 30 days. I'm responsible for executing this, and I'm now going to assign a strategy to it. Now, the strategy to it is partner with an internship. Okay. And here's how that's going to look. Right. So now, for an example, if I have other employees or somebody, I'm letting them know, here's my implementation plan. I'm going to approach a school system, a business development, school or whatever, and offer an internship that's going to be a win-win situation for a student's credit and will be an aid to assist me in my administrative capabilities. Okay. Now we start to put the timelines, the due dates, the responsibilities to that. And then from an accountability standpoint, we are effectively implementing a solution. Okay. So the plan then has to be communicated. Now we also have to provide clear understanding of the objectives, the benefits, and expected outcomes of the strategies, models, or systems, whatever you're implementing. Okay. When you are communicating the plan, it has to be clear. It has to be clear of the objectives, the benefits, and the expected outcome of the plan. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. Oh, I'm sorry. I realized the screen was still flashing the number 3, but it really should be the number 4, communicate the plan. So let's keep moving. Number 5, we have to allocate resources. Okay. Number 5, allocate resources. Now let's talk about this. We have to allocate the necessary resources, such as anything financial, technological, human resources related, whatever those are, need to support the implementation process. Okay. So for an example, allocate the necessary resources. So again, if I'm going back to needing to bring in an internship, and let's just say the internship is an unpaid internship because they're getting knowledge and life skills in exchange for college credits, right? But you also want to take another step further. So maybe, again, speaking real estate related, you have a closing, right? You get a commission from a closing. Maybe a small percentage of that commission goes towards that, goes to pay that intern. right? Because of the specific duties that they have. So the strategy for the need of administrative assistance, right, is locked up in the potential in the solution of implementation. Again, partnering with somebody, getting the intern in there, and this, that, and the other. But then to take it a step further, maybe you need them to do some additional work, right? Now you have to reallocate or allocate necessary resources, such as financially. So you say, hey, this is your baseline stuff. I also need you to do this, and I will pay you a percentage of my closings for doing A, B, and C. Okay. Same thing happens to any other type of resource that is within that. So we have to have an open mindset when it comes to implementation, that sometimes there are things that have to get allocated and reallocated in order to support the implementation process. Okay. Reallocation also means maybe you have to cut some things, right? So regardless, we have to ensure that the allocated resources are sufficient to meet the requirements of the strategies, models, and systems that are being implemented. In other words, whatever you are time, money, whatever you're paying your time, money, etc. to for that. I apologize. I just got a weird little connection issue, so I hope it didn't cut me off. All right, number 6. So again, number 1, we have to clear defined objectives. Number 2, we have to conduct a comprehensive assessment. Number 3, we have to develop a plan. Number 4, we have to communicate the plan. Number 5, we have to allocate resources. And number 6, we have to train and educate. Okay. So we provide comprehensive training, education programs, or whatever you want to call them, to equip anybody that is involved, employees, etc., with the knowledge and skills required to effectively implement the strategies, models, or systems. Pause. This becomes extensively important if somebody is specifically involved or is a key component of your implementation plan. Okay. If somebody is responsible for playing a role in the implementation plan, we have to ensure that they are trained and educated with the knowledge and skills that are required to effectively implement any of the strategies, models, and systems that you are trying to execute. Okay. So this may mean you may have to conduct workshops. This may mean you may have to conduct seminars. This may mean one-on-one training sessions, whatever specifically it means, to ensure that a smooth transition and an adaptation of a new process. Okay. That's pretty self-explanatory in itself. So we're going to keep moving on. Number 7, monitor the progress. Okay. You have to do your own progress reports. All right. Now, some of you on here, live or in replay, can say, I got that skill set down. I'm good to go. Let's rock and roll. Some of you may say, you know what? No, I'm not a micromanager. Some of you are too much of a micromanager. You got to find that balance to monitor the progress. All right. Are y'all still with me? Everything good? Give me a thumbs up and let me know that you're getting something from this so far. All right. So let's talk about this a little bit further. Monitor progress. So we have to establish basically a monitoring and evaluation system. Now, this is to really track the progress of the implementation. In other words, this is also accountability. Okay. Regularly review any of the key performance indicators, or in a business where we call them KPIs. Okay. Milestones. We have to assess whether the strategies, models, and systems are being implemented as planned, and are they delivering desired outcomes, or do we have to modify? Okay. When an implementation process is rocking and rolling, you have to monitor the progress to ensure the effective resolution of the implementation plan. Now, again, I'm speaking very broad because there's many people on here tonight, whether you're watching live or in replay, that have different set of clearly defined objectives. Okay. Not every specific implementation plan is going to cater towards your particular need. If I were just to give general templates. Okay. But again, keep in mind, if you need assistance with bringing some of this into the light on a granular aspect, reach out to me. Okay. We can talk about this. But again, if you are looking at key performance indicators, or at a bare minimum, get an accountability partner. That's why coaching comes in. Coaching comes in to say, hey, I'm going to help you build this implementation process. We're going to rock and roll in it. I'm here with you in the trenches to get this thing done. We're going to accomplish what we have to accomplish. At this point, you have no other choice but to forge ahead with this implementation plan until the objectives have been fulfilled. Okay. Now that coach on the outside eyes is the one that gets to see the full picture to say, we need to tweak this over here. We need to modify this over here. Let's keep going with this because this is working great. Okay. Monitor the progress. Number 8, we have to adapt and refine. Adapt and refine. Okay. We have to remain flexible and open. Open to what? Anything regarding the implementation process. Feedback. Okay. Especially if you're working with other people during this type of process. You have to encourage the team members, stakeholders, whoever specifically it is that you may be working with, to provide insights, suggestions, concerns. Okay. You're taking a needs analysis and you're making adjustments, right? You have to use the feedback that's given to make necessary changes. You have to refine the implementation plan and optimize the strategies, models, and systems that are being implemented. Now, optimization is a huge word, but it is an intricate part of implementation, because optimization means it's speaking directly to the effectiveness of your implementation plan. Okay. How well am I actually doing this? How well am I actually effectively implementing my goals and objectives? Okay. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Number 9, we have to foster, okay, a culture of improvement. Now, this kind of coincides with number 8, where we talk about adapt and redefine. Adapt and refine, rather. In other words, polish up, button up, dot the I's, cross the T's. And so if we are optimizing the strategies, models, and systems by way of feedback and making necessary adjustments, then that means that we also have to have space for continual improvement. Okay? Cultivate a culture of continuous improvement within the implementation plan. Again, if the implementation plan is just you, yourself, and you, cultivate your own culture of improvement. Okay? Encourage, again, the feedback, innovation, collaboration, drive, ongoing enhancements of the implementation strategies, models, and systems. Regularly assess the effectiveness, the relevance of the implementation process. Make the adjustments as needed. You have to have a culture and a space for continual improvement. Again, if it's just you as an individual that is developing and running with this implementation plan, whether it's in your life or your school or your business or launching a business or the desire to launch a business or trying to get off your job into a business or a ministerial type of an organization, whatever specifically it is, if it's you, even if it's just you yourself doing all of that from start to finish, you have to give yourself space for a continual improvement, which means you may have to let somebody come in with an outside view to help you assess your situation to ensure that you are optimizing your strategies, models, and systems that are part of the implementation plan. I hope this is making sense tonight. Okay, we've got one more to go. So let me kind of backtrack real quick before I get ready to conclude with the 10th step. Okay, we talked about number 1, clearly defining objectives. We talked about number 2, conduct a comprehensive assessment. We talked about number 3, developing a plan. We talked about number 4, communicating the plan. We talked about number 5, allocating resources. We talked about number 6, training and educating. We talked about number 7, monitoring the progress. We talked about number 8, adapting and refining. We just talked about number 9, which is fostering a culture of continual improvement. And last but not least, number 10, we have to give ourselves space to celebrate successes and learn from the challenges. This is probably the most important step out of all of them. Okay, because number 1, we're giving ourselves the room and the space to celebrate our milestones and successes that we have achieved throughout the implementation process. But we also are acknowledging and appreciating that the efforts that you or anybody else has put into this process, and we're viewing the challenges or setbacks. But watch this. We're not just viewing them because they were there. We're viewing them as learning opportunities. Now, how do we do that? We use them, okay? In order to take issues and turn them into opportunities, you have to view the opportunities and then use them. Use them for what you ask. I'm so glad you asked. Use them for further refinement. I'm going to let that sink for a minute because that's huge. Just write that down if you're taking notes. How we celebrate successes and how do we learn from challenges? We learn from challenges because we view the setbacks and we use the setbacks to further refine and strengthen the implementation strategies, models, and systems. Javita says, trying to transition back to full-time entrepreneurship, I have to learn to celebrate the small accomplishments. Absolutely. The small accomplishments have to be celebrated because they also affect, are you ready for this? They also affect where's my number 4? 8, right here, 7. Sorry. Celebrating successes, celebrating the small accomplishments affect your number 7 directly, which is monitor progress. Okay. You monitor progress by taking a pause to assess, acknowledge, and accept the small accomplishments, to celebrate them. Okay. We view the challenges or setbacks as learning opportunities and use them to further refine and strengthen the implementation strategies, models, and processes. That is number 10. Okay. So again, for your quick review, the 10 steps to implementation. Number 1, clearly define objectives. Number 2, conduct a comprehensive assessment. Number 3, develop an implementation plan. Number 4, communicate the implementation plan. Number 5, allocate resources. Number 6, train and educate. Number 7, monitor progress. Number 8, adapt and refine. Number 9, foster a culture of continuous improvement. And number 10, celebrate successes and learn from challenges. Now, if we follow this, we can effectively implement the strategies, models, and systems within our visions at large. We can foster growth, efficiency, and success. And of course, if we remember to adapt the process based on the unique needs of the dynamics of our vision, then we can maximize the effectiveness of the implementation. Okay, which is why I'm also speaking very broad tonight, because again, everybody's vision is different. Everybody's goals and clearly defined objectives are different. But as long as we can start to develop the strategy model for every particular objective with a timeline and the push of implementation in it, along with these 10 steps, then we're able to adapt the process and customize it to the unique needs of our vision. Okay, now when we do that, we're maximizing the effectiveness of our implementation. Now, why are we maximizing the effectiveness of our implementation at that moment? It is because everybody's plan is going to be different, because what may work for you may not work for me, or what may work for me may not work for you. So that's the blessing in that. All right, let me see what I got in the chat here real quick. Michael says, I've literally spent this whole year transitioning my career to full-time entrepreneurship. Every small accomplishment matters, even if it's a closed deal. It's a step forward, or even if it isn't a closed deal. If it's a step forward, I just have to keep my head in the game. Absolutely. Yep. Again, celebrating successes, big and small. You may not have had a closing today, but maybe you have lead gen, or maybe you have prospect, or maybe you have assessed your organizational structure, right? Anything that's keeping you progressively moving forward is a success to be celebrated. And yes, you are right, Michael. You have to keep your head in the game. Okay. All right. Well, I am 11 minutes past what I wanted to do, even though I was time blocking originally for 45 minutes. So I'm not going to hold anybody longer. Please feel free to watch the replay of this. That's why I did it on the social media platforms, so that anybody at any point can go back and watch what you desire to watch. If you need to take some more notes or recap on a particular topic, etc. So I'm just going to leave a quick space here for anybody that may have any questions that they'd like to throw in the chat box. Feel free to do that. I will try to monitor this over the next couple of days as well. So if you're watching this in replay, feel free to put the questions in the comment box or reach out to me directly, and we can talk about that. Okay. We will be rewatching. Awesome. Awesome. All right, I'm going to give about 30 more seconds. I know there's a little bit of a delay typically in broadcasting, so I just want to give everybody a minute to just throw anything else in there if they have any questions. All right. Vaughn said, what is the best way to go about being discouraged in moments? I'm assuming that you are referencing like overcoming discouragement in moments. Is that what I'm gathering from that question, or is there another part of that I'm missing? Okay. So let's rephrase that question. You're asking, what is the best way to overcome discouragement in moments? Okay. Number one, actually, when I say number one, I guess it's probably going to be the main one and only number one. But the best way to do it, and there's some strategies and stuff that we can talk about. I'll throw a few at you right here, right now. But none of them really are going to work too much until you have your big why in view. Okay. Now, a big why is literally like the fundamental main foundational piece that is getting you up in the morning every single day. Now, some are driven by family. Some people are driven by success. Some people are driven by fulfilling their life's mandate, right? It can be a conglomeration of any of those particular things. But there's a judgment process that you have to do first and foremost. The judgment process that you have to do is comparing the things of discouragement to the weight of your big why. Okay, that's first and foremost something that we have to understand. That is a process that you have to work through in this, which actually is a direct implementation killer. Okay, the reason why most people give up, throw the towel and do whatever they do is because they're not seeing the manifestation of their objectives and their goals, and certainly not seeing them in a time frame that they want to see them in. Okay, so it's easy for us to get discouraged. It's easy for us to get distracted. Now, let me pause right there on that. Distraction is a form of discouragement. Okay, and so when you are focused and you're going somewhere, you're in movement to something and you're focused, distraction comes, and it comes effectively because discouragement and distraction, they ride in the same car together. Okay. So one is good. So distraction is going to come to get your eye over here so that you do get discouraged because you're off focus, or discouragement kind of sets in a little bit. And then distraction comes in to get your eye to go off that way easy. Right? When we're not focused, it's easy for us to get off kilter. When we're not focused, it's easy for us to get distracted, especially when we're discouraged, because discouragement is like, it's a heavy wounded type of a feeling, right? So it's easier for you to look in another direction because what you're doing right now really just kind of isn't working. So, and so first and foremost, we have to understand that the first thing is that we have to come into marriage with our big why. Why are you even here on this earth? Right? Why are you physically present and alive? Why are you in your family? Why are you in your job? Why are you in church? Why are you here? Right? That's got to be all intertwined into your big why. Now, some of the fuels to that big why is, why are you doing what you're doing? Now, why do you get up and go to work every day, right? Well, most people say, I have to do it because I got to pay my bills. Okay, we get that, right? But there's got to be something a little bit deeper than that. Men, as men, we can speak to the fact that, we'd like to be providers, make sure the house is taken care of, et cetera, right? So we get up sometimes, and sometimes we got to forge past and push past our issues because we need to take care of business, right? So the big why helps immediately keep things into check. Okay. Now, we've talked about some strategies before, such as stacking the deck is something that we talk about quite a bit in some more of our life coaching type stuff. That is probably one of my personal favorites. But I also have a let me see if I can find it real quick. So it's something that we call fighting the imposter syndrome. Okay. Now, fighting the imposter syndrome is directly connected to the feelings of discouragement that's based upon feelings of inadequacy, not really living up to my potential. Do I really know what I'm doing in life? What's my next step? Things aren't moving fast enough. All those type of stuff. It affects your confidence. It affects the way that you lead. It affects the way that you move forward. And all of that is predicated upon discouragement, getting discouraged in those moments because of those type of things. So it's called the imposter syndrome. We have to fight very hard against the imposter syndrome, because the imposter syndrome will bring discouragement. Discouragement will bring self-doubt. Self-doubt will bring insecurity. So before you know it, a person is left with all of these feelings of less than, all of these feelings and emotions of things that mentally they never really started there, right? You don't start with feeling insecure. You don't start with feeling self-doubt. You don't start with feeling inadequacy. You just start with feeling discouraged, and then all of a sudden all these doors start opening up. And it's called the imposter syndrome because it's almost like a syndrome of something, right? When you get sick, you have syndromes, and you have symptoms, and you have those type of elements that are predicated upon somebody's being sick. And it's the same situation in this type of capacity, whereas we have manifestations of feeling a certain way, right? So part of the biggest thing that's connected to the imposter syndrome is what we call energy drainers and energy givers. Now I'm gonna throw this out there for you all tonight, in hopes that maybe this not only helps him, but helps anybody that may be listening. So energy drainers, of course, are that what it is. They are the things that suck the life out of you. Energy gainers is what it is. They are the things that impute and infuse energy into you. Okay. So for an example, energy drainers can be people. They can be emotions. They can be work. They can even be at home. Unfortunately, sometimes spouses can be energy drainers to people. Sometimes their children are energy drainers to people, right? Women, and who work a full-time job and have are stretched very thin throughout the day, and get home from work, and all of a sudden they feel the pressure of having to cook dinner for the entire family. The thought sometimes of cooking dinner is an energy drainer, right? And so what we got to do is, in order to fight discouragement in those moments, is sometimes we've got to take an analysis of, are there things that are draining? And here's the direct answer to your question. Okay. Are there things that are draining my energy? And if so, what are they? So you have to look at the people around you. You have to look at the emotions that you're dealing with. You have to look at your day-to-day physical elements: home, family, and work. Okay. And we have to kind of assess, what are the energy drainers, and are there actions that I can take to reduce the energy drainers? One of the biggest actions is to replace the energy drainer with an energy gainer. Okay. So the energy gainers, for an example, in this situation, to some people are exercise. To some people, it's a nap. To some people, it's music. Some people, it's arts related, painting, or Some is even journaling, right? Some people it's Bible study, gardening, those type of things are energy gainers. So what we do is we have to do our level best to replace our energy drainers with energy gainers at the same time of keeping the deck stacked against our big Ys. In other words, does it compare to my big Y or not? And then we have to dismiss those type of things. Now, the actual logistics of stacking the deck, and I'm hoping this is helping you. The actual logistics of stacking the deck is writing down the things that keep you going on literally post-it, or not post-it notes, but on index cards, right? Families, success, financial liberty, ministerial advancement, whatever specifically to you is the fuel to your big Y. Okay. You write those down on index cards, and it's called stacking the deck. So every time you hit that mode of discouragement, you're pulling those out. Now, if you want to get a little bit more, technical appropriate, put the list and bullet point on your phone or something like that. So you have a reference that every time that you feel discouraged, you can go back to the energy gainers. You can go back to the phrases, the words, the examples that keep you going on a day-to-day basis. However, keep in mind that it has to be directly connected to your big Y. So everything that I'm talking about tonight starts with your big Y, identifying what in the world is that gets you up to move forward. I hope time or have to dive further into some things. We can always schedule a private consultation. All right. What else we got? Any other questions? All right. I'm going to give you all just a few more minutes here. And then we're going to go ahead and I see on one screen I'm freezing a little bit. So I'm hoping that you all can hear and see me okay. Still, hopefully. But yeah, do me a favor and just, Vaughn, if that helps a little bit, give me a thumbs up or something. Let me know that you're with me. And if there's anybody else that has any questions, any other questions. What do you do when your Y changes? What do you do when your Y changes? Well, if your Y changes, you have to modify everything else to cater to the Y. Okay. But you also have to identify, is there a fundamental element to my Y? Okay. Like, I'm going to give you an example. One of my Ys is financial liberty. Okay. I push to do what I do because I want to be financially free to a degree, right? So jobs change, income changes, opportunity changes, right? So I modify my Y, or I modify the process according to the Y, right? Of the Y, I have to ask why the Y, right? So in other words, if my big Y is to be financially free, why is being financially free important to me? Well, it's important to me because, and I'm gonna share with you my real why. It's important to me because, number one, not only do I want to build a legacy my family never experienced before to leave to the generations that are coming behind me. I'm talking about, obviously, I'm totally for work ethic, but to be transparent, the generations behind me, I want to relieve the potential of struggle, right? So that means that I have to create a level, walk into a struggling business and say, hey, it was just on my heart to bless you with this. Let me just write this check. Hopefully this takes you to the next level, and not blink about it. I want to be able to walk into a church who has projects going on and renovations going on and issues and this, that, and the other, and to be able to change their lives with one swipe of a signature on a check. Like, that's the why to my big why, right? So if your big why changes, you have to kind of analyze what are the arms, what are the fingers of the why, right? And make sure that those are still intact as it pertains to your mandate of life. Okay. Everything else then at that point can be modified. Your implementation process has to be modified. right? Sometimes even your goals themselves, the objectives have to be modified to cater to the big why. So if the why is changing, which it can, and to be honest, it kind of should, or the why sometimes may need to expand, right? Then you just modify everything. So unless if there's something specific that you are looking for in what to do when your why changes, everything else really needs to fall in line with that. To give you a natural example, right? Sometimes when you change the flooring in your house, you know, people sometimes want to change the furniture because now the furniture doesn't match the flooring, right? So your big why has changed. Now you need to mass course the why. And hopefully I'm not frozen. All right, I'm gonna give 30 more seconds for anybody else that may have a question here. We are way past our time, but I'm loving this dialogue. I'm gonna go ahead and put in the chat box if I can. Let me see if I can do it on here, which I can't. So I'm gonna hop back on the thread after this, and I'm gonna put in what we call Calendly. And if anybody is in need of just scheduling a consultation, a deep dive, just a private consultation to go a little bit further into some things, I'm going to put this on here to allow you to do that. Okay. So hopefully this will help if anybody else needs some more direct information. And I'm frozen. Okay, my apologies. All right, guys, I'm going to let everybody go. I'm going to go ahead and put the Calendly link in the comment box at the conclusion of this video. So if you need any further questions or want to go deeper into some things, schedule a private consultation with me and we'll discuss it from there. I thank y'all for joining me. Make sure you share this video. Get some other people in here that need some assistance and just an extra oomph to, like, you know, do some implementation stuff, and we'll take it from there. All right. Have a blessed evening. Thank you again for joining.